Welcome, here is Gerson, and today we are going to talk about VMware vSphere High Viability AJ with Distributed Resource Scheduler DRS and Distributed Power Management DPM. First of all, we must be clear that not all features we are going to present this are available in all versions of vSphere. Here you can see one important feature we must be turned on is vMotion. vMotion is available with vSphere Standard, Enterprise Plus, and Operation Management Enterprise Plus. And we are going to turn on high availability, which is also available on the three versions, but DRS and DPM are only available on those two other versions. They are not available on vSphere Standard. Okay, so here we have a picture from our hypothetical vSphere environment. Here we have the physical hosts. Here we have the vSphere on top of those hosts. Here the resource pool of the machines with processors, storage, memory, and networking. And here on top of that we have the VM. So the vMotion is very important here. So you can have the machines automatically moved from one host for another. Okay. Well, another thing we must understand for have this perfectly working is that we need to have a cluster with AJ turned on that cluster. This group of VMware EXSI hosts are moved into resource clusters to segregate the computing needs of these different business units. With VMware vSphere clusters, you can have high availability resources to all your workloads. You can balance workloads for optimal performance. You can scale and manage your computer resources without services interruption. Here you have a vMotion, which is basic need. You can move virtual machines from one to another if you need to have a maintenance on a host. Here you can move a machine. One is a manual. Then you take this host down for maintenance, and after the host goes back for maintenance, you move back the machine. This is a traditional vMotion, manual vMotion of the hosts. High availability is the same thing. Here we have our three hosts. If this host has a hardware failure and goes off, those three VMs here are rebooted on another host. That could be this one or this one. But we don't know how the capacity remaining of those two other hosts. So in which hosts those machines which belongs to this host with hardware failure will be placed on, here or here. So this we have here. We can have balanced capacity, which came to be distributed resource scheduler, which automatically places the VMs based on CPU, memory, and load the stats of the machines. Here we can see that these hosts have high utilization. Those two hosts are lower in utilization. And since these hosts have a lower utilization in these hosts, this VM will be automatically moved here to these hosts in order to alleviate this high usage of this host. With the balanced computing capacity by clusters, you can deliver optimized performance for your host and all virtual machines. VMware Distributor Resource Scheduler (DRS) is a feature that is included, as we said before, in vSphere Enterprise Plus in vSphere with Operations Manager Enterprise Plus editions. With DRS, you can have improve the service levels by guaranteeing appropriate resources to all the virtual machines. You can deploy new capacity to a cluster without any disruptions. That means you just add another physical host here. When it is turned on and added to the cluster, the VMs automatically will move to those new hosts in order to have optimal usage. You can automatically migrate your machines during maintenance. That's that case before when you need to remove a host from the cluster for maintenance. You can monitor and manage all your infrastructure. Okay. Alongside with DRS, we are going to see also VMware Distributor Power Management, which is in the opposite of the DRS. When you have a lower, very lower power uses of your host, all the VMs on this host are using the motion and moving to another host, and this host is not powered off. This host is going to standby states, so it's going to save energy. And if the load on the virtual machine goes high again, automatically this host will be powered on, and machines with VMs will place it back here. With DPM, you can optimize power consumption very dynamically inside the vSphere cluster, which is also included in Enterprise Plus and Operations Manager Enterprise Plus Edition. They are also not available on the Standard Edition. When the demand for resources is very low, in this case here, the DPM places hosts in standby mode, and then when the demands can high again, the DPM power on the host again. Okay. With dynamic power management, you can cut the power and also cooling costs as much as 20% during low operations periods. You can automate energy management in your data center with more efficiency. And also with DRS, you can automatically init your workload placement. When you power on a virtual machine in a cluster, DRS places it in appropriate hosts or generate a recommendation depending on your automation level you choose. Automation levels, also known as migration thresholds, range from conservative to aggressive. VMware vCenter will only apply recommendations that satisfy cluster constraints such as host affinity rules or maintenance. It applies DRS recommendations that can provide even slight improvement to the cluster's overall load balancing. DRS offers 5 automation levels to fit your needs on a per cluster basis. And also, as I said before, you have automated load balancing, where DRS spreads the virtual machine across all your hosts across vSphere inside the cluster and monitors available resources for you. Based on your automation level, DRS will migrate with vSphere vMotion virtual machines to another host within the clusters to maximize your performance. And like DRS, vSphere Distributed Power Management features optimize power consumption at the cluster and host level. When you enable DPM, it compares clusters and host levels capacity to virtual machine demands, including recent historical demand, and places hosts in standby mode. If capacity demands increase, DPM power on hosts in standby to absorb the additional workload. We can also set DPM to issue the recommendations, but not take actions in manual mode. You can have also cluster maintenance. Here, DRS accelerates the VMware vSphere Update Manager remediation process by determining the optimal number of hosts that can enter in maintenance mode simultaneously based on current clusters, conditions, and demands. Also, at last, you have constraint corrections, where when DRS redistributes virtual machines across vSphere closest host to comply with user-defined affinity and anti-affinity rules following host failures or during maintenance operations. Here we are going to show you is that is a cluster which is on purpose with high levels, you can see here, of memory usage. So here we are going to show you we turn it on with AJ, but we turn it off all the DRS and DPM. Okay, so here the automation level is manual. So even with the high levels of memory utilizations, nothing happens because the vCenter server owner should suggest the migration recommendations for those virtual machines. What you are going to do is change these automation levels from manual to auto, and also power management is going to off. We are going to also change this to automatic, and you're going to see that automatically vCenter server will start to move the VMs from this host and this host in order to balance the workloads that we have here. So we came here, DRS is, we are going to change to fully automated and power automated to on. We click OK. OK. Here the status, the cluster is reconfigured, and in a few seconds automatically the VMs will be starting to be moved across the hosts in order to rebalance the cluster. Here you can see that a virtual machine is automatically being moved to another cluster, to another host in the cluster, in order to rebalance the loads across the hosts. Here is completed, and so here you can see that one of the hosts is out of memory usage. This host remain here with high memory usage because there is no way to move the VM here inside it that satisfies the improvement of high usage of the cluster. Okay, now we are going to turn off again vMotion and DPM, because we are going to show you the opposite. Okay, here what we did is that we turned off several VMs. Since the VMs are turned off, we are going to change back the resources here, so instead of high utilization and the high viability, try to move the VMs across the hosts in order to reduce the level. Since the utilizations levels are already low, the vSphere high viability will try to move the VMs from one host to another in order to turn it off, or means place this host in maintenance mode. So we came here again, put DRS in fully automated, and power management also in automatic, and okay. From now, after a short period of time, the machines will start to be moved across the cluster. You can see here we are start to migrate one machine, and here you can see that hosts is in standby mode. If when we came back and power on all those machines, this host will be removed from this standby mode. We are going to show you this in a short moment. Since the hosts is completely standby mode, we are going to power on all the VMs again. So what's going to happen here? The VMs will be not only powered on again, but they will be the DRS will choose which host is better for place these VMs. Here, and power this on it, this power on this also. Since we are short in resources because one of our hosts is on standby mode, automatically the VMs at the moment they are going to power on, they will be choosing a host to be powered on. So in a few moments these hosts will be back again online. Here we can see that the hosts is back again from standby mode. This is done automatically, but DRS and have viability. And we can also see that after the host came back again, the VMs are automatically moved again across the clusters in order to rebalance our cluster. Okay. After we see how high viability with DRS and DPM works, we are going to walk inside here of DRS and AJ in order to see how the parameters are. This is the main screen here. So we came here, close and edit. You can see that DRS is turned on and is fully automated, but if you click here, you can see that the automation level comes from manual, partly automated, and fully automated, and the migration threshold can range from conservative to aggressive. You can just slide here and then you move back and forth. Here in virtual machine automation, you can choose the automation level for this machine. This is for override or not the states of the machines. Here also in power management, you can choose the use of the DPM. In order to use DPM, you must have WCON, IPN or ILO to bring back the hosts powered on. Okay? If you use EPM or ILO, you must configure them before use it. Okay? And also you can choose automation levels from off, manual, and automatically. Okay? And you also can choose here the DPM threshold from conservative, from aggressive, and you can just slide here. Okay? And here we can choose even the advanced options that you can choose. So extra parameters you can add here for our options. For in order to this work properly, you must turn it on vSphere high availability. Okay, here is very good in order to have host monitoring that will check the network heartbeats. You can also monitor your VM monitoring. Here, in case of low network connectivity with your data store, you can choose to enable this or not. Here, in VMware application monitoring, is how your VM will respond in case of failure. You can have it from disabled, just a VM, and we can also monitor the applications inside the VM. Here are the failure conditions you can choose. Here are the further conditions we have already in our cluster. Host loader, you restart VMs. Host isolation, shut down and restart the VMs. Where data store with permanent device loss are disabled. All paths are also disabled. Here, guest not heartbeat, just reset the VMs. VM restart priority, you can also choose from disable, low, medium, and high. Okay, here is the response in particular for this sets we have here: host isolation, permanent device loss, all paths down. So here you can choose individually for all these events and how your VMs will behave. Okay, here also several of those presets. Here you can set the mission control for your VMs. So you can choose if you assurance the machines VMs will be placed on hosts only in hosts when you still remain the high availability conditions. Here you can set your data store heart beatings for the hosts. You also can have automatically, you can choose the specific data store, one or more data store, and here you have the advanced options you can set for. Here is only one option set, but you can also add several other ones. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial for VMware high availability with Distributed Resource Scheduler DRS and Distributed Power Manager DPM. Thank you and see you the next one. Goodbye.